Well, hello my friends. Welcome back to another day here in our sometimes wild home. And I just thought you'd want to join us and just see what that looks like as a homemaker, a mom of three. Here in the video, I'm getting ready to bake up a fresh loaf of sourdough bread, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm also mixing up sourdough Dutch baby for breakfast. I'm also an entrepreneur with a small side hustle that I run from home. I'm always interested to see how other mamas make that work. I thought I would bring you along and maybe share some nuggets of wisdom with you today that could help you in your homemaking slash mothering slash entrepreneurship journey. I definitely don't have it all figured out, but in 20 years of homemaking, I do have a few things that I've figured out. I thought we'd talk today a little bit about routine and rhythms in homemaking. Here you can see me feeding my sourdough starter. This is an example of one of my weekly rhythms. The day before I'm going to make a big triple batch of sourdough bread, I feed my starter so it'll be nice and bubbly and ready to go. I do this every week so that we can have our daily bread whenever we need it. At the beginning of this video, you saw me preparing some bread dough out of a large plastic bin. Now this bin is already dough that has been bulk fermented. At the beginning of the week, I mix up a triple batch. I let it bulk ferment overnight, then I throw that into my refrigerator, and I always have sourdough bread ready to go. All I have to do is pull it out, form it into a loaf, let it come to room temperature for a couple hours for a final proofing, and then I can put it in my preheated oven and bake a loaf of bread. I can have super healthy sourdough bread on the table under 3 hours anytime during the week, as long as I have that batch of bread ready to go and in my refrigerator, bulk fermented, gut healthy. I mean, you just can't beat it. I get a lot of questions about this bread pan. This is called a Pullman Loaf pan. You can find them used in antique shops. They've been around for a long time, but I actually got mine on Amazon, so I'll go ahead and link mine for you. It's made in the USA, but this makes the best sandwich bread. It keeps the crumb nice and closed and steams your bread with the lid on, so it makes a really nice fluffy sourdough loaf. So I'll go ahead and link this for you. And then I just use my sourdough sandwich bread recipe. The bake time with the Pullman pan is 40 minutes at 375 with the lid on, and after it's baked, crack the lid, let it cool before you slice it. I'll go ahead and link my sourdough sandwich bread recipe as well, and hope you give it a try. That is just an example of one of the rhythms that I've developed just in the last 5 years. I used to be a full-time registered nurse and working, long hours and having young children. I wasn't home as much, and I really struggled to find my work-home balance. And I am learning to be a full-time stay-at-home mom still, but we're getting it figured out, and I really, really love it. So as far as rhythms and routines, I prefer to run on a homemaking rhythm, a home rhythm, rather than a routine. A routine to me is pretty strict, and often it's confining for the day-to-day. No one day for us looks the same. If you're home a lot, if you're a homemaker, if you homeschool your kids at home or not, you kind of know that's true, especially during the summer. If your kids are out of school, our routines can look different day to day. Certainly our weekend routine can look different than our weeknight routine. So, I really just prefer to run on a rhythm. What that means is there's no strict, stringent schedule. It's not like Monday we do this, Tuesday we do this. It's more like when things are needing to be done, say we're needing to mix up a batch of bread, I'm baking up my last loaf of bread, whatever day that may be. I know that sometime in the next day or so, I'm going to be needing to mix up another triple batch and just get that in the fridge so it's always available. Really, a rhythm in homemaking and being home is just doing the next thing, doing the next right thing, which comes next in your daily flow. Instead of making it a strict to-do list, just make it kind of a flow from your morning rhythm to your afternoon rhythm to your evening rhythm. And if things don't get done, if things are left to do at the end of the day, just flow those right into the next day's rhythm. Doesn't that feel a lot better than a strict schedule or routine? I like a checklist just as much as the next person, but I also need to have flexibility. Having flexibility and making space, having margin in your rhythm is something that we all need. So here you can see me mixing up some eggs in the video. I am actually putting together some high protein egg bites, similar to the ones that Starbucks sells. It's going to have lots of green veggies. I had some turkey bacon on hand, so there's going to be a little bit of that in these. And I'm just whipping these up. Whenever I have spare time, especially in the morning hours, you will find me making food. One of the rhythms that is really helpful in our home is to prepare food for the day ahead of time. If I can get dinner prepped and ready to go, then it makes that evening rhythm just go a lot smoother. When we look at the big picture of homemaking rhythms, I look at overall, what does our rhythm in our home look like monthly? Now this monthly rhythm might change by season. What does your summer look like? What does your fall look like? What's on your fall bucket list of the things that speak fall to you and your family, the things that you want to do? Do you want to go to a pumpkin patch? Do you want to make sure that you plant your fall garden? What are the things that are on your bucket list that you want to do in each season? That's kind of a monthly rhythm that I like to establish and maybe take note of. And then when I break it down a little further, then I look at the weekly rhythms. What do the weekly rhythms look like for us? Well, Sundays or Mondays are kind of planning days for us. My rhythm is really at some point early in the week, I like to sit down with my planner and kind of mark out the things that we have to do during the week. And one of the rhythms that I really like to incorporate is a Friday errand day. Most days you will find us at home. We live 2 hours from any major city. We're about 15 minutes from our small town that has just a small grocery store, a few amenities, but not much. And we're over an hour from bigger grocery stores. So we don't really leave our home much, except if we want to go out exploring or maybe playing for the day. So one of our weekly rhythms is we have an errand day. If we have appointments or things we need to do in town, this is going to be on Friday. That way my mind can rest during the week because I know that I'm going to be out and I can go to the post office, or we can have an appointment, or I can do my business deliveries on Friday. That clears up the rest of the days for me and my rhythm to get other things done. When I break the weekly rhythm down even further, we have daily rhythms. So daily rhythms, I really try to keep Monday pretty slow. I don't over plan things in the day because I know we're coming off of busy weekends, especially in the summertime. Monday tends to be a little bit slower, and as the week goes, I add things to the list that we need to get done. And when I'm looking at that daily rhythm, I am thinking in blocks. I really like to work in scheduled blocks, if you've ever heard of this, but I block my days out in a morning block, an afternoon block, and an evening block. And I try to put no more than 1 to 2 things in each one of those blocks. And even though that doesn't sound like a whole lot, you would be shocked at what you can accomplish by the end of the week if you just do 1 to 2 things in the morning, 1 to 2 things in the afternoon, and 1 to 2 things in the evening. That feels very doable. I mean, as long as it's not some big house project. I try to keep it very manageable, and I write it out for the week, but I also, look over the week and is this practical? Do I need to move something to another week? I really try to guard our time and our family time. But on the other hand, you are getting a very reasonable, practical amount of things done every day. And you also have a lot of margin to add in little bits of time for rest. It might surprise you, but I am not a morning person, so I spend a lot of time in the morning waking up, having a cup of coffee. I just don't get going until quite a bit later in the morning, and I still accomplish a lot in a day. So here's our morning accomplishment together. We made breakfast. I prepared a chicken with some spices and got it ready to put in the smoker so we can have dinner all ready for tonight. When I'm planning closing out my daily rhythm, I want to talk a little bit more about what I include on that day-to-day, the block scheduling, the morning, the afternoon, and the evening blocks. And when I'm picking things from, maybe our to-do list of things that we want to do, I really consider, do I have a home project? What food do I need to prepare? What work do I need to do? I mentioned that I work from home. I always want to include extracurricular activities and something fun, especially during the summer when the kids are home all the time. I don't want to be working all the time. The type of personality that could do a project every day, all day. I could work on my business every day, all day, but I want to spend time with my kids. And so I really push myself to plan something just for the pure fun of it, something that's joyful, something that we all love every day. Now, this doesn't always happen. Remember, this is a rhythm. This isn't a routine. This isn't a schedule. It's just a rhythm to the day. Typically, my morning block will include some sort of home project and almost always food preparation, whether I'm preparing lunch for the day, whether I'm preparing bread for the week, whether I'm making something to send with my husband, or I'm pull a selection of frozen meat out of our deep freezer to thaw, or making a meal for a friend. The morning time is really good for some home projects, laundry, cleaning, and that food prep like I mentioned. One of the reasons for this is we have a toddler and we have older children too, but the morning I can really get a lot of these home projects done with my toddler around. She can help. I can give her a task. So these are great things to include in your morning block. So if I pick a food activity, maybe a canning project in the morning time, that fills that morning block. And I really don't want to include much of anything else, or I just feel overwhelmed. The afternoon block is when our toddler typically naps. So I'll put her down for a nap, and that afternoon block for us is the perfect time for me to pick a couple of activities. Typically this is work related because it's really hard to get focused work done with a toddler around. My older two kiddos love having their free time in the afternoon. So the afternoon block of time for me is really the secret to making my business work. I really take the afternoon time as my time, and if I don't have work scheduled, I give myself permission to rest and do something for me. My bigger kids have free time and they can do pretty much whatever they want. My oldest will go fishing, or they can work on projects of their own, just have time away from their little sister and also away from me. I mean, they need to have independent time as well. I usually make a cup of coffee, listen to an audiobook. I can jump into some microgreen work. I just really value this time a lot. And even though it's my work time, it resets and recharges me. And I love it. This is a great time for me to edit a video, work on uploading some clips, and work on my microgreen business, either planting, harvesting, or the back-end business work. I usually get about 3 hours in the afternoon where she naps, and then we move into the afternoon or the evening block of time, and this is the perfect time for us to have wrapped up all of our work, all of our home projects for the day, if possible, and just do something for the fun of it. In the summertime, we love to go swimming, we love to go fishing, we love to go out on the boat. We live in Northwest Montana. There's so many beautiful recreational opportunities that it would just be a shame if we did not take advantage of our beautiful summer days. There is our smoked chicken looking beautiful, and our activity for the evening was going to my son's open house for his first day of high school. And so, we ran out of time this night, so dining on the fine china it is, and we have some smoked chicken and some sauteed zucchini and fresh garden green beans. Thank you guys for joining us on this fun-filled day. I really hope you got some inspiration and a few little nuggets of wisdom about routines and rhythms in homemaking, and we'd love to see you next week. Please subscribe if you haven't already to our channel. Turn on your bell notifications so that I can make sure and notify you when our new videos come out. Thank you, and we'd love to see you next week. Bye.